getting into entrepreneurship is just be prepared to, it's more about building the resilience to never give up, the tenacity, the strength, and the power within you to say, you know what? Yeah, this is happening, but I can keep going.
What's up, legend? Welcome to another episode of the Rich Mystic Man podcast. And today I have a very special guest with me. This is Frank Galea, and he is a brother of mine. I've known him for a few years. He's actually part of our Enagic business and works with us in the online space. And yeah, we've got to know each other over the last few years. We've had some really unique experiences together. You know, two journeys that I've been on with Frank are ones that are like, I'll remember and cherish for the rest of my life. One of them was smoking a toad, and maybe Frank can talk about that one. But the other one was Frank took me hunting for the first time. So I guess like there was a period of my life where I was vegan. I grew up with eating meat, and then I went down this journey of like, you know, not wanting to hurt animals and, you know, seeing like sort of going down that more conscious path. And then I sort of just cut meat and I was vegan, and I lasted probably about 3 months before like my body started saying, give me some lamb. And so I sort of started eating a little bit of meat, but I had this like, I guess I felt there was a few years where it's sort of like I wanted to be vegan, but I was still eating meat. It's like my body wanted it, but there was part of me that like felt shame, and I felt like I was wrong. I shouldn't be doing it. I'm not spiritual I'm hurting these animals and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, so it was only like a couple of years ago I let all that go, and then I was like, oh, actually, I'd love to go hunting. Like I'd love to really. I went from like being this vegan to like wanting to like kill a beast. Anyway, so I had my friend Frank, who we were just friends, and I knew you went hunting, and then someone said to me one day is like, oh, I can't stand Frank's socials, and I'm like, oh, why is that? She's like, just all the dead animals on there. I'm like, what? Really? On his socials? Anyway, so I went on to Frank's socials, and there, sure enough, he's like him and his guns and his deers, and I was like, holy shit, Frank's like, he's the real deal. Anyway, so I said to Frank, I reached out to him, I was like, hey bro, how would you feel about like, you know, taking me hunting? He's like, yeah, you know, and I think it was like a dream come true for him, because he's like, because I was his mentor in the Enagic space, and then he's like, you know, now all of a sudden I'm the mentor in the hunting space. And so we went away for a couple of nights down to a friend's. They got 500 acres down just inland of Coffs. And yeah, we went hunting deer, and I was able to have my first kill. And Frank showed me the rope, showed me how to, you know, work the gun to, you know, kill the beast, to butcher and cut it up and skin it and all that sort of stuff. And it was a truly incredible experience. I wasn't sure how I would feel doing it. But afterwards I was like, something primal and something innate was activated in me. I was like, no, this feels really good. And then I came home with the meat, and the kids were eating it, and the wife was eating it. And then Frank made schnitzel out of it, and that was incredible. And that was just, the whole experience was great. So anyway, that's Frank in a nutshell. He's a legendary dude, and he's crushing it in the online space. So we're just going to have a chat today. And I guess the direction is being in service and empowering other men to step up and lead, as the Rich Mystic Man podcast does. And Frank's someone who's, he's taken life by the balls, and he left his job just a few years ago, and he's traveled around Australia in his van, and realized that that's a nightmare. And so he's sold his caravan, and he's now got a place down on the southern parts of New South Wales, and he's right there, and he goes hunting regularly. And he's a man that's really got his firm boundaries about what he'll accept in his life and what he won't, and what he'll tolerate and what he won't. And he's someone that's now creating a life of choice and a life of freedom. So wanted to bring him on and just have a conversation around that. So welcome, Frank.
Thanks for having me, legend. I love that. Like, that's like full story there. Like anyone that like they know 90% of my life story from hearing that. There's just so many like laughing points, you know, like when you shared there about like eating the meat and that schnitzel. I just remember, and I know this is probably going off on a tangent, but I remember, like, because we were in our van at your land, I was like in the van and I was preparing the meat, like I was tenderizing it, getting ready to make schnitzel for this like epic dinner tonight. And your wife Christy comes to say hello to Emily and I, and she's like, "Ugh, well, I don't know if I, like the raw meat, and, the hammering," and she's like, a little bit horrified by it, and then like, whatever, 6 hours later when here I am like cooking this schnitzel, she's like going back for more, and it's like that to me, it's like, that's why I hunt organic meat, that's like, to me, like you don't get better eating quality than eating, something, a beast that's lived in the wild and lived a free life, and it's like, just the way, and it wasn't just Christy, like everyone devoured it, and it's like, that brings me joy, like that I could go out there, hunt this beast, bring it and share it with, friends and family, and they all get to enjoy the spoils of my hunt that I, received so much joy and connected to my primal self with, so that was like, yeah, it touched me.
Yeah, nice, beautiful. What's the how do you correlate? And I know we've sort of had this conversation a few times, but I guess the idea of going out to hunt, like you said, a beast, and bringing that back and feeding a family, then to like sort of translate that to the idea of hunting a sale, getting someone that's getting started in your business. Like, do you feel like it's a similar essence?
It's a hunt. It really is a hunt. Like there's like a literally they're a reflection of each other. I'm my hunting. Out in the field in the bush, I'm hunting and I'm feeding my family from that. Like you get this rap of trophy hunting and all this thing, and it gets a big bad rap in there. And obviously everyone wants to have the trophy from their hunt, but like really, my driving force is providing meat. I'll pick the meat over the trophy any day, and that's always been my thing. It's like, I want to put meat in my freezer. I want to put, organic free range meat, so my kids are eating, the best quality meat they can potentially eat. And the same with the fish, because I'd love to go fishing too, And when I achieve success, it creates this, I don't know how to explain it. It's like this satisfaction. It's like the same satisfaction you get after sex. It's like you feel like you've achieved something, completion, like joy, like, all the positive feelings that come with that. And it's the same in business. Like, so instead of hunting game, I'm getting out there and I'm hunting money. And I'm like, it's literally the same feelings, the same, there's an addiction to it. Like there's an addiction to making money. There's an addiction to hunting animals, like it's such a primal thing. And it's like, they're both providing, and as a man, we're meant to provide. Like, it's one of our core fundamental, deep needs that we must do. We must provide security and income. And, in today's world, we wouldn't survive alone just by me hunting the meat. We still need to, provide money to keep a roof over our heads, to have cars, to literally function in modern day society. So I could go out there and I can hunt money, and I can still provide that same level of shelter and protection for my family just by making that money. So I get that same reward from it.
Yeah, epic, man. Beautiful.
Yeah. Thanks,
so I shared your story from my perspective.
Yeah.
Your from the conversations we've had and the glimpses that I've seen on Facebook, and you being actually part of the Rich Man Container last year. But yeah, give us a bit of would just love to hear like, where it was you were prior, and then I guess what was the point that made you go, you know what, fuck this, like I'm gonna actually do it. I'm gonna stop talking about it now, and I'm gonna create a life. And I know for you that life was like hitting the road, and that was a big point for you. So what was that life prior, and then what was the trigger point that made you actually pull the trigger?
So backstory, and I think it's really important to hear everyone's backstory because it gives context to the reason why, and so many people can relate to it. And what happened, I used to be a mechanical tradesman, so I literally fixed machines, and I spent a lot of time in the pharmaceutical industry, and I worked on like all the coolest stuff like pill presses, encapsulation machines, making liquids, making powders, like really cool stuff. And I got a lot of fulfillment out of it. But what I found was I didn't have freedom. I didn't have the days off. I didn't have, I made good money, but I was making money, but I didn't have the time to use it. Like, and I guess with that is also the flexibility, like a lot of my passions, like the fishing and hunting, are weather driven. So if the weather was good during the week, but I'm at work, I couldn't go and do what I loved. So that slowly started to bottle up with me. And I guess when you don't know better, you can't do better. You can only do operate with the level of knowledge that you have at the time. And for me, I wasn't in enough pain to actually go and change that. But the foundations of my turning point was I actually applied for a new job. The job I was in wasn't going too well, and I didn't realize the job I applied for was in the pharmaceutical industry. They said, come to this address, got a job interview, and I go there, and it was Australia's largest company, right? Global pharmaceutical company, billion-dollar company. And I was like, whoa, this is like my dream job. This is like, guys, to get a job here, people have to die, or retire. Like, this is the only way you can get a job here as a tradesman. I was like, thinking I was in heaven, and I go for this first interview, and, it went well. I've always been good at, interviews throughout my years in employment. And then I went for my second interview, and they basically said, you've got the job, but here's what we're going to offer you is that everyone you work with gets an RDO a fortnight, but you won't get that RDO. You're a new employee, and no new employees get an RDO. And I was like, your job description said it's got an RDO. The freaking job advertisement said it's got an RDO. Like, what's going on here? And they're like, yep, new employees don't get the RDO. Do you want the job or not? And I was literally between a rock and a hard place. And I was like, I was so fed up with the job that I was in. I was like, you know what? Let's just take this stepping stone. We'll go somewhere else, or it might be okay. And I took this job, and the first couple of weeks, I was like watching men there that, in my department, they'd come back and they say, I had this awesome long weekend. I went up here with my family. I done this fishing trip. And I was like, fuck, they all get an RDO. We're doing the same job, but I don't get it. And I'm like, what the fuck? And that was like, I need to change something here. But I said, because I've just gone for a job with Australia's biggest company who pride itself on what they call being a family-friendly company. And I'm not even getting the same time with my family as all these guys do, And that was like, this has got to change. But me, I had a passion for fishing. I started a business. I said, you know what? No job's ever going to give me the flexibility and freedom that I want. I had mates driving excavators in their own business. I had mates doing landscaping businesses, and they had freedom in their life. They could literally like move work around and change days and, go fishing during the week. And like, they had this choice. And I was like, I want to start my own business. So I was like, I started a business that was related to fishing because I had this passion for fishing. And what I found was I actually ended up overworked from it. Like, I literally created this business that hit the ground running. I ended up in like 7 major tackle shops, as well as I had this huge retail base where people would literally come into my house to buy this burley. I built a brand around it. It just like literally took off. Like, Amber Lee was like, whoa, look at all the men that want this burley. It was like, Amber Lee's my wife. She was like, shocked that like, you could build a business so quickly. But what happened was it got to a point where I was like literally working my ass off. Like, anyone that knows a bricks and mortar business, you've got to wear a lot of hats. You've got to, for me, I was making the products, I was stocking the products, I was dealing with, the retail base as well as the retail stores that were buying in bulk off me. And I was like doing deliveries, and like literally got to a point where it's too much. And like, I was doing this in a garage, I outgrew it. And I was talking with Amber Lee, and I'm like, I'm going to have to scale this business. I think that's the way. That's what I'm going to have to do. I don't see any other way. It's either scale it or get out of it. Because it was literally wearing me thin. So I started, because I had machine contacts and factory contacts, being in industry for so long myself. I started reaching out, and I started getting quotes, and I was looking anywhere between 300,000 to 400,000 for a little factory, buying machinery, and I'm like, do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? Do I want to, basically mince burley? I was making fishing burley. I was literally buying tons of pilchard and mincing. I was like, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? And when I sat in a dark room, and I was like, no, the answer was no. This is not what I want to do, because this is going to give me the freedom I want. Sure, it's a business that it's associated with my passion, but it's not going to get me living my passion or doing my passion. And literally in that moment, I quit. I said, that's it. I'm done. Shut the business down. And I said, I've had enough, But what happened with me, and I think everyone's different. Some people go straight to the next thing. I didn't have anything to go to. I literally stopped the business, and I still had a job that, I hated to some degree. I was cringing at because they, gave me less working rights. But what happened was like, okay, well, now I haven't got this business. I'm back at this job I don't like because I'm like dirty on them. I'm like, but I need the money that I lost from making this business. So I fell in this trap. I started doing mega hours of overtime. So I started doing like 80 hours a week. I went on to shift work. I said yes to doing shift work. So I was doing 1 week day, 1 week afternoon, 1 week night shift. I'd get callbacks. I'd literally finish afternoon shift 11 o'clock. I'd get into bed, fall asleep, and then the phone would ring. It'd wake my son up, it'd wake my wife up, and then I'd be going to work, and that, I'd be getting text messages from my wife, like, you fucking woke me up, you woke our son up, and you're off to work, and like, now we're awake. And it was like, got to a point, like, it was like really, really, really painful. Then my wife actually started this online business, and I was like, okay, all right, she's come to me, she's brought this to me, and I'm like, sort of like umming and ahhing, do I want to do this business or not? Like, my mum was palliative at the time, she was like in her final months, and I'm like, I can't do it like that. Just do it. You focus on it. And I just went through, the shit that I was doing, dealing with my mom, the big hours at work. And then basically what happened, Amberly comes to me, she says, I want to go to this business event, which would have been for anyone in our community would have been 2020 Freedom Fest. And she's like, I need you to take time off work to look after our son. I want to go to this business event. I'm like, at the time I wasn't doing the business. And I was like, yeah, okay, all right. I was like, let me go and see if I can get some time off, and I'm like, all right, I'll go. I went to work, and thankfully, like, they were okay with it. I took 4 straight days off, which for me, I only ever would have a day off at a time at the most. And what actually ended up happening was Amberly flew out on the Thursday. Thursday was living hell with my son because he was, about 2.5 at the time, and he actually didn't know his dad properly because I was always at work. He used to scream at the door, "Daddy, no go work. Daddy, stay at home," and I would go to work. When he thought he was with me, I was always getting a call back to go to work. And it was like, what happened? He couldn't rely on me. So suddenly there's this day, and this boy's so used to his mum, so used to the comfort of her boob and, being on her. And like, now he's stuck with this bearded, hairy man that, he barely knows. And it was like, it was hell. I was literally ringing my wife every like half an hour when she's at this business event. And like, hey, can you talk to Zion? Can you get him in the car seat for me? Can you get him to calm down? And basically that was a big realization to me. I'm like, shit, like, I'm actually ruining the relationship with my son. In these foundational years, I'm literally hurting the relationship with my son. And basically what happened, we were up late because he wouldn't go to sleep. The next day, he actually sort of warmed up to me. We started doing some pretty cool things, like we went out, we did some rabbit hunting. He sat in the car while I drove around. I had a hunting dog that was a stud dog. He got to learn about the birds and the bees when a guy brought over his female dog, so we could put my stud dog over her. It was like totally random stuff, and he started like really liking the fact that he was doing cool stuff with his dad. And what happened, like, by the end of the weekend, he was like all about me, like, "Daddy, can we do this? Daddy, can we do that?" We're in the garage building stuff, getting the jigsaw. I remember the weekend I made him like a wooden sword, and we painted it. It was like just such a profound weekend. And what happened, and this really was like, this is a big lead up to it, but my line in the sand moment was like, I got this text message, and I thought, it's Amberly telling me she's boarded the airplane to come home from this business event. And get my phone, and it wasn't Amberly, it was a coworker. And his coworker's telling me, you've got to do, 12-hour shifts the next 4 nights, and I'm like, 12-hour night shifts, I was like, what the fuck, like, I was like, I just had this epic weekend with my son where I, repaired some of the damage that I'd caused. And then I was going to go back to that same shit. And I was like, this is my line in the sand moment. And I said no to the 12-hour shifts. And from there, I switched my priorities, and I made myself and my family a priority before my work. And what's so serendipity is literally that same week, Amberly actually made her first sale in the business. And she did a trifecta sale. She's, was 2A business then. So it was, I think it's $1,154 came into the account. And I was like, gobsmacked. I was like, wow, she could just show up on social media and make money like that. Whereas like for me to make that sort of money, I had to like spend the weekend mincing fish and doing all this hard work. And I was like, it all came at the right time. And it was like, all the compounding shit from the job and that line in the sand moment, seeing the income potential of the online space. And I was like, I said to her, I'm ready. Like, let's do this business, And I remember having a chat. I think I might've had a chat with you, Clint, about structuring business wise with me doing the business and, our mentor, Ali. And from there I was like, my commitment was the business. And from there it was like going so hard in business that, transforming. And it wasn't so much the strategy. I sort of had an idea how to use social media and build this. For me, it was transforming my mindset, going from an employee mindset to an entrepreneur's mindset. And while I had experienced business, it was still a side hustle business. I was still an employee. For me, now I was in a business where I needed to be self-fucking responsible. I needed to fucking own my shit. I needed to move through that shit. And I carried a lot of trauma from my younger days, pretty traumatic, childhood. And I had to fucking own that shit, and I guess for me, that was like the massive journey. Like that first year I spent fucking transforming. And like, I get people who haven't seen me in like 4 or 5 years and they talk to me, this guy's, so you've changed so much, Frank. You're not that same person anymore, and they're like, they buzz out, at transformation. But as a result, like of going all in myself, like, and partnering in business with my wife, we've been able to create some really epic results. And, we started making money and what happened, like I started reducing my hours. So like I stopped doing those big hours because the business was filling in the gaps of that money, the money that I would have made, things. So we didn't have to sacrifice lifestyle. And then we got to a point like there was lockdowns, and being in a pharmaceutical company, they end up actually packing the medicine that they, wanted to administer to everyone as a thing. And I saw the volumes that were coming out of it. And I said to my wife, before anyone knew, I said, they're going to make everyone take this and I don't want to take it, and no judgment for anyone that takes it or doesn't take it. It's your choice. But for me and my values, they didn't want to take it. And I said to Amberly, we got to get this business making some big money. We got it. This is it. And literally we put our heads down and our ass up. We had, luckily, gratefully, we had the mentorship from Clint and his beautiful wife, Christy, as well as Tammy and Ali. We're in this little container, and it was like constantly calling us forward. And like, we were literally pushing our comfort zone. And, that was, when I said to Emily, we got to make this work, that was January. October 2021 came, and I said to Amberly, the mandates came, and I said, Amberly, I'm handing in my resignation. That was like, it was there. And I literally went in and handed in the resignation. And like, I was like, if I could do this, we could do anything. It was like, all right, well then let's set the mission. Let's get a caravan. Let's travel Australia. And let's, we literally only had 7,000 in our bank account, and we went and put a deposit on a brand new caravan and a brand new Land Cruiser. And we're like, how the fuck are we going to make this happen? And because we just trusted, and we literally made it happen. And within, 5 months, we got our caravan, we started traveling. And then within, another 5 months after that, we had a Land Cruiser, and we were literally traveling, free as birds, whilst literally building a business online. Okay? So it's like, I've probably gone on a massive story here, but I really felt the context of where I was to, what it's created now,
Yeah, no, that was powerful, bro. And I what was really, coming through strong there was that you really, like in hindsight, it's sort of like everything happened perfectly because like, the mandates came but you'd already been working and set things up. So when the mandates came, you were out, but it became because of those little like micro commitments and decisions and actions that you took in the time. It's like, you're like, actually, you know what? Like, fuck, I'm going to make family my priority, And then so seeing the time with Zion and your son and going, okay, cool. Now family needs to be a priority. But if you had have then at that time gone, no, I need to prioritize work. It's like, I don't think all that stuff would have happened. It's like, you was like, all right, cool. You just kept leaning in, trust. And it wasn't just like, all right, I'm quitting, I'm going all in on the business. Like there was that, transition period out of it. And then I didn't know that you guys only had $7,000 in the bank when you put the deposit down on the Land Cruiser. Because when I talked to you about it, because I wanted to get a 79 series cruiser as well. So I talked to Frank, and he sort of scared me out of it because he's like, they're about 75 grand. And then you had to get this tray, it was 20 grand. Then I got the souped up kit, that was an extra 20 grand. And he spent an extra 60K. I'm like, holy shit. So they're not 70 grand. They're more like 140 grand. And but man, then you had that in the caravan, and then you guys just went off. So man, that's a big transformation. So well done, brother. Thanks brother. Yeah, giving us the inside scoop. So what? And then since then, like entrepreneurship, bro, smooth sailing?
No, it's challenged the fuck out of me. Yeah, it's really challenged me. It's broken me, but something for myself. And I'm no human design expert, like don't get me wrong, but my wife, she's like this 2-4 projector. So like if she's interested in something, she could just like read it. And like, I don't need to read books. I can say, here, read this for me. And she'll give me all the key points. Like, there's that book thing where you can buy like 5 audio, like an audio, and it's got all the key summaries of like 5 books so that you've got all the valued information. That's my wife. Yeah. And she's gone over my human design so many times, and I've got this gate that never gives up, and it's like, I've got this resilience that no matter how hard it gets, I might whinge, I might fucking bitch, I might complain, I might fucking cry, and fucking say I want to give up, but I never give up. It's not in me to give up. I'm not a quitter, and I guess that, and I know it's probably, I'm saying it comes naturally. If you know anything about human design, it's usually, it's a lot about who you are and your personality type and so on. But, you can learn those traits too. And, I guess getting into entrepreneurship is just be prepared to, it's more about, building the resilience to never give up, the tenacity, the strength and the power within you to say, you know what? Yeah, this is happening, but I can keep going. I'm never going to give up. I can recalibrate, I can stop, I can reset thing, but the vehicle might change, but the goal is still the fucking same. And I'm going there and I'm just, doing what I have to do.
So what's, because I know for me, that's, over the years, there's been, a few times that I wanted to give up, and I have given up, but it's only been for a short period of time. And I've now realized, right. And I remember, let's say probably 8 years ago, I actually quit. I was like, yeah, nah, done with the magic, not doing it anymore. I quit. Told my mentor that I'm out. And then like a month later, I'm like, actually, no, I think I'll do that thing again. So I've now realized that it's like, it's not that I don't quit. It's just a phase where I'm like, I'm not as inspired, I guess, as what I am when I'm like on. So I know like this, whenever I share that story where I have quit, people are like, holy shit, like, I'm so glad you shared that because, I've wanted to quit so many times, or I have quit, and it's sort of given me permission to come back in. And so for you, it sounds like it's something it's like I guess it's part of your DNA, part of your makeup, and it probably comes quite naturally to you not to quit. But can you sort of maybe reverse engineer it or unpack it, like at those times where you feel like quitting, what do you do to sort of keep on going or keep in the right mindset and keep on your game when it feels like it's all stacked against you?
Yeah. I think one of the most powerful things, and I learned this from you, Clint, was accept the emotions and sit in it, and we've got this thing in humanity that we want to distract it. We want to go to food. We want to go to alcohol. We want to go to TV. We want to go to some sort of vice to distract us from what we're feeling. And what's perfectly normal is that if you're getting this feeling that you want to quit, that's okay. You're allowed to feel that. There's no shame in wanting to quit. But it's when we don't actually sit in it and accept it and allow it to move through us, because, some are more than others, but we're all emotional beings to some degree. Allowing ourselves to sit in it and process it, our unconscious mind has so much power, so much capability. And every time that I've had this, I want to quit, I literally will sit in it. I'll sit in uncomfort. And back to human design, my wife is like, she's like open. So with being open, she feels my energy. And she gets irritated by it because I'm just like in this emotional fucking mess. And it makes you just want to, go to a vice so you can numb that feeling. But I'm not. I'm sitting in that fucking feeling and it's uncomfortable. And what actually ends up happening the next day or a few days later, this fucking solution comes. And it's like, fuck, why didn't I try that? And it's like, where the fuck did that idea come from? I didn't go and fucking read a book to learn this idea or watch some training. It literally just came to me. And it's like, literally just by sitting in that emotion and being in it and letting it move through us, because we're meant to feel the emotion that comes through it. And it's like, we don't allow it. And like that would probably have to be the key piece to being able to, allow those feelings of wanting to quit to move through you, so that the solution to the problem that you're facing that's making you want to quit come to you in a beautiful way for you to take action and move forwards towards that.
Yeah, nice. Kind of switch gears a little bit, bro. How was it smoking a toad?
Oh, fucking hell. All right. Yes. Ooh, that's life-changing, man. I was like, whoa, let's talk about like, let's just fucking rip the handbrake up. It's life-changing. I had a lot of fear about it when I spoke with Clint about it, and for myself, I had this, I had a really hectic childhood. I lost my dad at, 11 years old. And like a few months later, I had sexual abuse from a family member, and as a teenager, I got an angry young boy. I got mixed in with the wrong crowd, and as a result, I ended up heavily on drugs. I was smoking half a gram of ice a day. I was taking Eckies. I was snorting coke. I was literally, you name it, I was doing it. The only thing I probably wasn't doing was heroin. That was probably it. But I was like literally, I was literally partying my life away. And when Clint come and told me about it, and you're gonna have to smoke something, it's gonna alter your mind, and I cleaned up myself, and I don't take any mind altering substances anymore. And he's like, this is gonna alter your mind, and I'm like, I don't want to do this, man. Like, I don't want to relapse back into those old things of my late teens and early 20s. I don't want to go there. Like, this is not for me, And he's like, you're not doing this for fun, bro. You're doing this as medicine, and you're using the power of the medicine. And I guess when he shared that, it took a lot of weight off my shoulder, and I was like, okay, well, you know what? It's medicine, and I'm just going to trust that, Clint, it's magically appeared in my inbox with this opportunity, and I'm just going to trust that this is the right thing to do, And I went in, and I guess it was nothing like I fucking expected. I was just thinking, I feel this amazing feeling, whatever, and thing. But what actually happened, I actually started to feel things from my past and move through that and let go of it. And I was like, these downloads were coming that it's okay, that, part of my journey was, my dad had to leave me at a young age for me to step into myself, and all this, meaning come to it. Like, I don't know if anyone's read the book Man's Search for Meaning. Have you ever read it, Clint?
No.
By Viktor Frankl? It's a really powerful book. And he was in the concentration camps, and he was watched many of his friends be killed, and he's lost his wife and his kids in the same chambers, the gas chambers, and he talks about creating a new meaning in life to overcome that. And it takes a lot of work and effort to be able to overcome that. But what I was finding when I was doing this toad experience, I was getting that new meaning to all the things that happened to me. It just gave a new meaning and a new insight. And it's like, when you have a new meaning, if for example, I could look at it like that. My dad died when I was 11, and it was bad, and I lost my dad, and it was fucking, be in that sort of victim type of mindset. And I'm like, but then you can make a new meaning, and it's like, well, what are the positives out of that? What did I get from my dad dying? And it took me on this wild journey of dealing drugs and taking drugs, and, literally, fake relationships, brothels, you name it. I lived the life, but that brought me to a place here where, I build a business online, and it's like that story and that thing has been so profound and powerful within building my business here. And it's like, if my dad didn't die, well, that wouldn't have happened. Where would I be today? And it's like, I love where the fuck I am today. So I've made up this new meaning from it. And essentially the toad has given me a deeper level of understanding of this new meaning of where I am, and who I've become, and all the traumatic things that happened to me, and how they've empowered me to be the man that I am today, and send me on the journey that I am, that I am on now.
Yeah. Awesome, brother. I love that. Goosebumps as you said that. And I guess that's the thing that comes through for me as well, is whenever I'm working with that medicine, is that, everything is perfect. Everything is a setup. It's all a perfect design. Whatever happens is meant to happen for whatever reason, And so I think there's a relaxedness that comes with that, because, we can have so many regrets, or I shouldn't have said this, or I shouldn't have done that, or, in your instance, it might be like, man, I wasted 10 years of my life, doing all these drugs and just ruining my body or whatever. And it's like, nah, to now have the perspective to go, okay, well, if I didn't do that, then I wouldn't have made this decision. I wouldn't have done that. And it's like, it's all part of your journey. It's all part of your story. So yeah, I really love that, brother. So, anything else you want to share around that?
Yeah, look, I guess something else that really, activated me, the second time I went and got invited to Clint's to do it again. It was part of his Rich Man retreat that time. And I went in with a deeper level of not so much wanting to overcome the trauma side of things, but really to get answers about where I should head in life. And, and what was amazing is that, leading up to that event, my wife and I were talking, do we want a third child? Do we not want a third child? And ultimately we got to a point where it's like, no, it's not practical. We're not we're at a point now, we're getting our freedom back. Our youngest, she's 3 now. Like you sort of get a level of freedom back as your kids get a little bit older. And we basically made this decision that we're not going to have a child. And I went in and we had some discussion, and there was one of the guys that attended, Clint's Rich Man was talking about, he hasn't got kids, and the power that a child brings to a man, and like how it changes a man's mindset and drives him to to create more, to do more, to be better, a better version of himself. And we had this discussion, and whatever, I let it go. I accepted that there'd only be two children in my life, and came to the first journey, and I got all these amazing downloads around like the business and Agic, and like I said, I remember that night I showed Clint, I'm like, this is what I'm doing, this is like, I'm going to change my group name to this. That was one of the downloads I got first, and like he's like, go check with the the numerology type app, see if the name flows. I'm like, no, I just fucking trust it, because I knew that was like a message from the divine, like I'm going with this name, because I was just so certain, like it was that clear. But what actually happened after that first journey, I felt like there was something there. Like I got downloads from my family and thing, but it just felt like there was an entity there that was like wanting to come in, and it sort of felt like, I'm like, I think there's another child, I think it feels like there's some child that needs to come here. I need to have 3 kids in this lifetime, and I went back, I had a rest and went back for my second, and clear as day, like it's like, this message come to me, like, another child's, here waiting to come, waiting for, to make that right decision, and bring a child into the world. And what happened after that journey, I took some notes down, and I went to my phone, and there's a message from my wife, and she's saying to me, I want another baby. I'm ready to be pregnant now. Get home, I want to be pregnant. And I was like, we made a decision before, like, a few weeks before I had this retreat, that we're not having children. That's it. It's done. But here I've gone on this, journey using the toad, and, experienced higher consciousness and connected, what I like to refer to as the divine, or the higher power. And this child's come to me. And then my wife, who's like 1,500 kilometers away, like, on the far south coast of New South Wales, we're on the northern coast, sends me this message that she wants a child. I'm like, you can't make this stuff up. This is the reality that you get when you access these, when you use medicine to access your higher power, your higher thinking, and open your mind to this, and I think the rest is history. We've got a beautiful baby in the oven right now. My wife is 5 months pregnant, and we've got our 3rd child coming on July 1st, so it's like, this is what, the toad unlocked for me, and it's like, it just allowed your inner calling, like my conscious mind said it wasn't a good idea, but my higher consciousness said, no, you need to have that 3rd child. And it's like, if I let my conscious mind rule, I wouldn't be having this 3rd child. When my higher consciousness, that's your higher power, that's your calling, that's what you're meant to do, you're meant to create. It's where your creation comes from. I've unlocked that, and it's removed that conscious thinking. There's limiting beliefs, the conscious thing, like, 3rd child's expensive, and the 3rd child is going to take up all your time, and all these limiting beliefs. It's actually removed that, and it's like, it's connected me with my soul and the divine, and it's like, it's giving me the answers without all those limiting thoughts.
Yeah, nice, brother. Yeah, I think logically, I were the same. We had a boy, girl. Cool, the perfect pair. It's like, do we need a 3rd? No, but it just kept coming through, like, have another one. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And it's like, I think if we get caught up on the details and the logical reasons why something, isn't smart or it's not going to work, then you're not really allowing that divinity to work through you. So yeah, logically, it's like, doesn't make sense. Like, it's going to cost more money. It's going to take more of my time. But what it's going to bring in terms of, and I've always found with each child, it's like stepped me into, next level of myself. It's allowed me to step up. It's created more abundance. And so, because it's like life supports life. So even to look at that somewhat logically, is like, well, if you have 2 children, you're going to receive a certain amount of, abundance to support them. But if you have 3, you're going to need more. So you're going to make more money. It seems that that's the logical way the universe would work, So not saying if you want to make money, go and have heaps of babies, but, if you're that call, then trust that. So beautiful, bro. Would just love to ask, while we're on the conversation, you mentioned the rich man a couple of times. I do have the Rich Man coming up. Just would love for you to share your experience of the Rich Man retreat.
Yeah. Look, with the retreat itself was like being in Clint's energy. Clint carries a lot of wisdom. Yeah, I actually, before this podcast, I actually had him in a live interview within my Facebook group, and I was like gobsmacked by the amount of wisdom. Like, and I know Clint's got lots of wisdom, but it just came to him, and that's what I experienced on the weekend. That Rich Mystic Man retreat was like the wisdom that Clint shared, and the wisdom, like I could see myself in that wisdom. I could see myself in Clint, and it's like, it sort of gave me this thing like I'm on the right journey, and like mixed in with the toad as well, but it gave me the answers that I was looking for, like that, that this is what I want to achieve. And like, but then also being challenged the day after the toad to step into more of my masculine power, like in the circle and the breath work and like the shouting and like the men getting amongst each other and firing up, it was like really fucking uplifting. And it's like I went to that retreat on a Friday as this man who I thought I was this masculine man, this thing, and it's like I left there on the Sunday a completely different man, and I felt a more powerful man as a result of just being in Clint's wisdom, receiving his wisdom, but then also being coached by by other men and being in the surroundings of men, and we're all like uplifting each other, and like being in the presence of men who are stepping up automatically makes you step up. Like you're like it's just profound, and like every man became a new man after that weekend, and because of that. And it's like you don't get that without going to retreats like this. You get that from being live in person. Like you can go to all the online courses and all the online learning you want, but when you're actually in the fucking energy of it and you're feeling that, and you're feeling the brother beside you step up, and the brother beside you step up, and you got Clint fucking pushing you to fucking go next level, go, you can do this. And Clint's support coach is pushing you, go. And it's like, it's fucking lifting you up, and you're like, you think, and then next thing it's like next level, like it just unlocks that next level within you, and you think there's no more. And then you attend a retreat like this, and you're like, there's always fucking more. There's always more of that untapped potential within us. And it's like, you think you're at it, you think you might have the right life, and it's all going well for you and whatever. And it's like, go and do the retreat, and then you're gonna unlock another piece of potential, and you're gonna untap, you're gonna tap into some more potential, and and push those limits. And it's like, so it's like anyone that's wanting to fucking do it, you want to tap into more potential that you've got within you. We've all got it. You've got to be there. You got to be there. You got to go through the whole fucking experience. Be in Clint's energy. Be in the other men's fucking energy. Yeah. Because the truth is, where we are right now in the world, we need men to step the fuck up. And I'll be honest, there's a lot of fucking weak men. It's the stage I was a weak man, and it's like going to the, Ristic Man, it's like collectively the ripple effect that has, because we all left there more powerful men. And then the men that we went and reintegrated back into, society with, or whatever, back into our lives, they're feeling our fucking next level energy, and they're being forced to fucking rise too. So it's like, you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for fucking all of mankind. You're helping more fucking men collectively, the ripple effect, like, being in your fucking energy. Like that's this, you've come back, you've finished your retreat, you're like this next level fucking beast that you've tapped into. And it's like, suddenly, like, the men that you might be in a job still that you're working with, or the men you might go fishing, or the men you might just hang out with, they're feeling that energy with you, and they're like, their inner masculine wisdom is being called to fucking step up too, So like, you saying no to this, you're stopping not only your own growth, you're stopping the growth of the people that you hang around with, and that are in your energy, and your children. You might have sons, and it's like, you saying no to that is actually saying no to your son stepping into the next level version of himself, and it's like, my son constantly sees me step into that version. We've probably got to wrap it up soon, Clint, but I hope you don't mind. I could share a little story here, because I think it's important. And it's like, for me, and, unlocking this level of power that I got, like stepping into fear, I've been really good throughout my life, but there's always been things that I've been fearful to do. There's always been scared. And it's like, each time I do a retreat and like, going to Clint's Rich Mystic Man, unlock this next level of of power within me that, I stripped back even more fear, more conscious fear that was in the way. Like I got this more power to step through it. And my son was sitting on the bull bar, and I've got a chest freezer outside that I've converted into an ice bath. For whatever reason, I didn't want to get in the ice bath that day. I didn't want to get in. I had this fear, it's like, I don't want to get in. It's cold. I was like, it's going to hurt like fuck, that initial, 10 seconds. I don't know if anyone's done ice baths, but it's going to hurt like fuck. And then, my son's watching. He's like, what are you waiting for, Dad? You're going to go in or what, And I'm like, fuck, he's watching, So I fucking jumped in and I fucking hated it. I was like hating every fucking minute of it. But you know what? I made it fucking matter. And I did it. I did it in that moment. I walked through my fucking fear, even though I'd done plenty of ice baths before. And this fear come up, but I had the power that that untapped potential that I talk about, that you achieve, that you receive from these, attending Clint's Rich Man Retreat. And I tapped into that, that potential, and I walked through that fear. I got in a fucking ice bath, and my son watched me do it. A few weeks later, we went to this theme park that's here. It's called Magic Mountain, and it's got a couple of slides, and one's like it's an intermediate slide. It's good for young kids to go down. You still fly down it, and I went down that first. My son went down. I went down after him, and he's like, umming and ahhing. There's the one next to it, and that's like, it's intense. It's called the black hole. You literally go underground, and it's like literally pitch black while you're speeding away down this water slide. And I got a buzz from the first slide, and it wasn't even, it was fast, but not that intense. And I got this like adrenaline buzz from it. I'm like, I don't think I need to do anymore, And next thing you know, I see my son lining up the black hole. I said, what are you doing, Zion? And he goes, I got to face my fears, Dad. And literally he fucking went down that fucking slide, and he come back running up because that was the fastest slide I've ever been on. But you know what? The rest of that fucking morning we spent there at this birthday party, he didn't give a fuck about the birthday party or the cake. Just back and forth, back and forth. And he was just going. He faced these fucking fears. And it's like, I tapped into my, potential to have more power to walk through those fears. I came home. I brought that home with me. My son saw that. And what did he do? He went down the fucking black hole that kids his age were fucking too scared to go down. And to me, that there's the ripple effect. That there is me showing my son he can fucking walk through his fears. Yeah? Because to get the life you want, you have to have courage. You have to have courage. So let's untap that courage. Let's untap that power. Let's see you at the next Rich Man.
Nice, brother. Fuck, that was epic, man. Thanks for sharing.
Welcome,
what a story. What a story.
Welcome,
yeah,
man.
Awesome. Awesome for Zion. I love that. How old is Zion? 4.
He's 6.
6
now.
6.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, learning those lessons at 6. Imagine when he's 12, 15, 16, 20. He's getting a good role model as a father. So well done, bro.
You're welcome, bro.
All right. We'll wrap it there. Thanks, Frank.
No worries, man.
Appreciate the insights and the wisdoms, and the journeys we went on, and reminiscing of some of those times together. So yeah, awesome chat, brother. Just before we go, how can people follow, if they want to follow you online? What's your social media handle?
Yep, Frank J.S. Galea. Literally just put that into any of your social medias and you'll find it. So Frank space capital J capital S space Galea, Galea, and you'll find me.
Awesome, brother. We'll have that in the show notes as well. So awesome, Frank.
Awesome, bro.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers. Take care, bro.
See you, legend. So if you want to be part of the Rich Man experience, the Rich Man Retreat, 3-day retreat and 4-month integration container, and up level and really step into your greatness, learn the power of leadership, sales, marketing, and money mastery, then let's have a conversation around the Rich Man. Let's jump on a call and let's see if it's a right fit for you, right fit for me. And so reach out to me on social media, Instagram or Facebook at Clint X Morgan, and just drop a thing and say, yep, let's chat about the Rich Man, and we can go forward and have a conversation. And like Frank said, the objection I have around the Rich Man is like, I don't want to invest the money. I get it. Right. But if you don't invest the money, if you don't back yourself and invest in yourself, if nothing changes, nothing changes. And so if you want to break through that money ceiling, then even just taking that step and investing that money could be the catalyst, the thing that's like, you know what? I fucking value myself. I value myself. I'm going to back myself. And I know that the Rich Man is something that I wish to embody. And so anyway, let's just have a conversation. You don't need to pay anything. It's a call and we can explore it and see if it's the right 50. All right, my brother. Have a magical day and look forward to talking to you soon.
Sitting here watching the clock, I'm struggling, thinking of the bullshit that I've been juggling. Is there more to life than this? I'm thinking twice about the price I'm paying in this 9 to 5 life. The sweatshop.